Welcome back, students. Today we read the third chapter of Environmental Studies Part 1. The name of chapter is the storage of water. This is first activity. Try this. Make a small hillock of mud and stones in the schoolyard. Set some stones into the hillock. Pour water over the hillock from a watering can, like rain. Use the following points to study how the water flows over the hillock. In which direction does the water flow? How does water flow on the steeper slopes? How does it flow on the gentler slope? What happens when the stones cause an obstruction? Where do the puddles form? When does the direction of flow changes? Now second step is now stop watering the hillock. Make observations using the following points. Why did the hillock dry when we stopped pouring water? How long did the hillock take to dry? Which part of the hillock dried quickly? Which part took longer to dry? Why did it take longer to dry? You will realize that some rainwater flows away over the ground. Some water seeps into the ground. All the water we get come from the rain. The rainy season lasts for 3 or 4 months. Along with us, all living things use this water all year round. If we do not store water, we will not have enough water for our needs. That is why we have to save water. Water must be used economically. In this lesson, we will see different ways of storing water. Old water stores. In the olden days, several methods of storing water were used in our state. Nowadays, these old water stores are rarely used. However, their remains can be seen in all places. Some of them are very beautiful. Water in some of these stores never get depleted. The first one is the wells. Some rainwater seeps into the ground. Wells are dug to obtain this water. Page number 17. The second one is the water tanks in forts. People lived on the hill forts in the past. They also needed water. The forts had reservoirs and tanks dug into the stone. Third one is the draw wells, which is called as ad. In the past, draw wells were dug to get drinking water. They were small wells from which water was drawn using a small pot, pohra, tied to a rope. Atpadi in Sangli district had a draw well in every vada. The draw wells had water all year round. When the tap water system was introduced, the draw wells went out of those. Many were sealed. Now there are very few left in the Atpadi. This can be seen in many villages. Fourth one is the rivers and bunds. Earthen or masonry bunds were built across the rivers to store their water. Fifth one is the old reservoirs. Reservoirs were built in areas of low rainfall or in areas without a major river. Most of the reservoirs were built using a stone and mortar. Sixth one is the old tanks, that is called as a haud. Earlier tanks were used to store water. Some large cities still have these old tanks. Some of them are still in use. Find out if your locality has such an old water storage system. Page number 18. What's the solution? Savni and Ameya get tap water in their house. As a result, the water from the draw well, which had been used since old days, is not used any longer. Because of this, grandmother is upset. Suggest how Savni and Ameya can use the draw well water for the purposes other than drinking. So the recent system we have started. The first one is the dams. The most important of all recent water storage is the dam. Dams made it possible to store huge quantities of water. As a result, more land was brought under cultivation. Cities began to grow. It became possible to set up factories and generate the electricity. Maharashtra has several large dams such as Jayakwadi, Koyna, Ujni, and Yeldari. Find out exactly where these dams are located on the physical map given in your textbooks. Second one is the bore wells. Earlier, wells were dug to reach the water under the ground, but it was not possible to draw deep-seated groundwater. Now, with the help of electric pumps, it is possible to do so. Bore wells are dug for these purposes. These wells are very deep but very narrow. Use your brain power. Find out if there are any old water stores in your locality. Think about how these old stores can be used again. Where do water stores like rivers, dams, wells, and lakes get their water from? Page number 19. Panpoi, drinking water stands. People out on the roads need water when they are thirsty. In some places, big clay jars of drinking water are kept for the use of such people. This water is offered free of charge. This is known as a panpoi. Panpois are set up by individuals or institutions. Panpois are very useful, especially in summer. Do you know? Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj gave the following instructions for the construction of a hill fort. A fort, that is a hill fort, should be built after the first finding out if there is a water in a place. If there is no water and if it becomes necessary to fortify the place, then by breaking the rock, reservoirs and tanks should be built. One should not wholly depend upon the supposition that there is a spring of water in a fort and that it would somehow or other supply enough water. For storing water, 2 to 4 reservoirs should be constructed. Water from them should not be allowed to be spent. The water in a fort should be well protected. So what we are learned is the traditional methods of water storage, modern methods of water storage, and economical use of water. Always remember, water is a natural resource. All the living things need a water. We must keep this in mind when we use a water. Thank you.